So video 3 of my vlog, because that one's getting long, or else they won't load, especially on Instagram. Instagram will be like, the video is too long. Yeah, you see people upload videos for like 20 minutes, and then I can't upload a video that's like 12 minutes. So it's like, that's so weird. But anyways, like I was saying in school, yeah, I love taking art. I took art all high school. Yeah, definitely freshman year in Fire, and then my sophomore, junior, senior year were in Enochs High School, and we were the first class to graduate that school because it just opened in 2009. And I loved art. I sucked at it, but yet at the same time I loved it. But then sometimes I'd be really good at it, and then I would be surprised at my own art. I'd be like, oh my gosh, did I do this? I'd be like, oh my gosh. I'd make myself surprised though in art class. I loved ceramics my junior year. I wanted to do it again and again. I would have took it, but some like I don't know if Bayer had it my freshman year, but ninth grade, right? And then ceramics in 11th grade my junior year was like awesome. I was like, I love making things. I was like, they're ugly, but so I was like, usually I'm a perfectionist, but I was like, that was kind of hard to do. I was like, but I loved it so much. I still have quite a bit of things I'm going to give to my son, of course, in the future for his house with his wife. I'd be like, oh, mommy made this. You can have it. But yeah, just thinking of the classes I took that I love. Oh, and then drama. Did I take that senior year? I think senior or junior year? Junior or senior year at Enochs High. Mr. Barstow was a pretty cool teacher. I liked him. He was just like, sometimes be nice and then other times grumpy though. So it was so weird. I'd be like, he's a cool teacher, but then at the same time, like I feel like he thought that maybe I was trying to be a kiss-asser, so he was kind of like meanish. I was like, I'm not trying to be a kiss-asser. I'm just trying to be like a nice student, and I just have respect and manners, because sometimes I feel like he's a little rough. Because I was like, he was nice and all, and even Christian, because I'm Christian. But I was like, he's kind of rough. But because I had him for my sophomore year also, I had him for English, and I sucked at that. English too is too hard, like verbs, all that, and the stupid books they'd make us read. I'd be like, yep, I hate English class too. I was like, English I hate. Math I loved, actually. Surprisingly, Miss Fitzgerald, my sophomore year at Enochs for the first time in that school, because it just opened my sophomore year, and I was the first sophomore year class in that school, because it was only us freshmen and sophomores right there when it opened. They didn't want to have juniors and seniors because they're preparing still, and it was just us 2 grades. But yeah, Miss Fitzgerald was a sweetie, and I had her for 2, I think even my junior year too. I had her again, and I was like, yes. But I actually loved math for a second there, man. I was like, even my freshman year at Bayer High School, our teacher I think was dying, because like my freshman year in Bayer High School, because like he would be so sick, and then one time he just like threw up, and we had to go get the teacher next door, to like call. I was like, I don't know if he needs an ambulance or he should just go home, but the teacher took care of it, and then we had a substitute. But I was just like devastated, because I'm like, I never seen a teacher throw up before and feel really sick in class. And I was like, we just got another teacher, and they of course handled it and whatnot. But I was like, is he dying? Because he literally, I think, like threw up like blood and stuff. And I was like, I think a teacher's dying in front of me. I was really traumatized. I was like, I'm really sad. He was like a short teacher, short man, and he was really cool. He was kind of grumpy, but he was cool. I loved math. But yeah, I don't even know now if he died, because that was when I was a freshman at Bayer High School. So what year would that be? That would have been in 2004, 2005. But yeah, I was like, he's dying. But I liked math class right there. It was like bomb. I loved it, even though, I was in the not so smart math class. I was in an algebra at least, so I was in one of the lower ones, but I was like, I still loved it. And then with Miss Fitzgerald at Enochs, my sophomore and junior year, I was like, I love it. It was great. It was great until they got crazy. Until until it gets nuts. Until it's like A, B, C, 42, minus, plus, subtract, multiply, division, quotation marks, 3 over 4. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. I was like, yeah, now this just got complicated. I'm like, who the heck is gonna use this for like outside living? Like, you're not gonna pay bills and use letter A and B 3/4. I'd be like, no. That's if you want to be an astronaut or a math, work in the science lab or something like that, like an insane job here, like a massive intelligent job. I'd be like, yep, I don't like math anymore now. I liked it when it was not too bad. Especially loved it when it was like third and fourth grade, when it was like add and subtract and multiply. I was like, oh, now I love it. I used to love in elementary school. I went to a lot of elementary schools, but the main one I always remember and I always love is James Marshall on the west side of Modesto, California, the ghetto poor. Yes, I'm a west side baby and I'm a poor ghetto baby. I actually had so many issues with head lice back then, roaches, rats, so I grew up like that, you know. Of course, we tried to keep our house clean, but we lived in a district that they weren't clean, so it is what it is. Then I always had to have my hair short, so I always had my hair chopped up or halfway bald. I'd have it shaved in the back because of head lice issues in the school all the time. We always did because, you know, we're poor kids. Some of the parents that, you know, like in school, the kids that were in school with me, you know, their parents were full alcoholics, full drug addicts, you know, et cetera, or gang members. So I'm like, yeah, it's not a safe school-ish. But I loved it. I loved going to school. I was safe right there at least. It wasn't as crazy as nowadays. Nowadays, it's probably like a million times worse. But I like loved it. But right there is when I loved math too. I used to love when they would like time you. Like boom, give you a paper and it's like add, subtracting, multiplying all that together on the front and back. And then they'd be like time you like 10, 20 minutes. I'd be like, oh mom, let's do this. I'd be like, oh yeah. I was like, why is this so exciting? I was like, I don't know why, but it was. It was just like the best thing ever, but not as best as when they will time you to write. When they, one of my teachers, Mrs. Harmon, in third or fourth grade, she would like time us to write paragraphs. She'd want us to write the introduction, you know, the, what would that be? The middle and then the end. You know, it's been a while, so she'll want us to write a couple chapters. I was so good at writing because I like loved making up stories and whatnot in my head. I actually wrote stories too that I would love to publish someday. Christian ones and kids ones, really. I'm not even kidding. I still have them. They're in storage. But I'm like, obviously, I need somebody that has an author's license because I'd be like, here, can you print that for me? So just say that we wrote it together, and I'd be like, woo, and so I could get some money too out of it. But I'd be like, well, just say we wrote it together because I'd be like, because you have the license and I don't. But that'd be super awesome. I really pray that someday. I'd be like, oh, good, print these for me because some of them are Christian, some of them are like I said, cartoons. One of them was enduring my mother's illness because I had to go I had to watch her like cough up blood. I had to do like so many things and watch her have seizures, and the hospitals not care and the hospitals not help. To this day, they still don't want to like see what's wrong. They're always just like every head scan, every MRI scan, all of them. They all just come out like they can't figure it out. So it's like really difficult. But also when I was little, she cracked her skull. She fell down the stairs. So I'm like, how do you guys not see that? It's still probably there. So I'm like, it's complicated. It's crazy. But yeah, so I wrote that book, like, you know, things I'd go through the day, how hard it was to see my mom suffer. Like, shoot, sometimes I just wanted to kill both of us to get her out of her suffering because I'd be like, it's not fair. I would believe and trust in God for healing, but at the same time, I doubt him and I'd be mad at him for it. And to this day, though, you know, it's still to this day. She still needs healing. She still needs a miracle. That's why I don't want to live this far from her. Even though I'm still 15 minutes away and 3 cities away, but I'm like, I still want to live on land with me and Ronnie in the house and our baby and our son and my mom close by because of her health. Because I just love her so much. I want to make sure she's safe and et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, like I was saying, in elementary school, yeah, my teacher would be really surprised. I have horrible spelling now. That's the only thing is I can't spell. That's why I read a lot. So I'm trying to gain knowledge of spelling. I read tons. I already read probably like 4,000 or more books in my lifetime. Kids books, Holocaust books, horror books, like R.L. Stein, all the popular stuff when you're like early 2000s, because I'm a 1990 baby. Early 2000s by the horror books that were super popular back then. Read all those. Carolyn B. Cooney, I think it is, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I loved reading. I still love reading, but obviously with baby, sometimes I'm too tired to read. But yeah, my teacher would be surprised because like everybody would still be writing. I'd be like, here's introduction paragraph, and then here's the ending. Boom, boom, boom. Like I would finish so quick and whatnot. It'd be great. It's just I had a horrible spelling, like I said. But she'd be like, wow. I'd be like, I love writing. I love writing more than the being timed for the math problems. But as I got older, like in high school, I was like, yeah, being timed is not fun anymore. But being timed as a kid was fun in elementary school. But when they started timing us like once in a while and in like high school, I'd be like, oh gosh, they're timing us. I'd be like, oh, not cool, because I'd be like, ooh,